Hi, and welcome to Python for Absolute Beginners Part 2. This is brought to you by Skills Zakhira, and I'm Dr. Sadaf Zishan. So today we are going to discuss the data types in Python. In the last lecture, I told you what a variable is, and I told you that it is used to store the data just like a container. So what can be stored in this container? So what types of data can we use? The values that can be stored in a variable can be a string, which is written in double quotes. It can be a whole number, such as an integer. It can be in decimal, which is called a float, or it can be in the form of a Boolean, for example, in a true and false condition, which meets a true and false condition. So let's look at how to write a string. So if I have to display a character or a or a word maybe, so I'm going to use a string. So string is always written in double quotes. It can contain all sorts of symbols. So for example, I have a variable called sport and I want to assign it a string value. So I'm going to start it with double quote, enter the value and end it with a double quote. So when I print the name of the variable sport, it is going to display whatever was written within the double quotes and it displays baseball. So I can do this without assigning it a value as well, a variable, and I can directly print a string as well by giving a print command, brackets, anything written within the double quotes. In this case, it's baseball, and then I close the brackets and I can see the display on the console will also be baseball in this case. Both codes display the same outcome, but obviously assigning a variable is a better option. We can also use an integer as to assign a variable a value of an integer. So whenever we have to use a whole number like age, number of books, etc., so we are going to assign variable a value of an integer, a number, a whole number. Please note, variable that is assigned an integer is not in double quotes. For example, in the first example, temperature is equal to 18. So when I print the variable temperature, it is going to display 18, which was assigned to that variable. Similarly, if the age is equal to 12 and I print the variable age, it is going to display the same value that was assigned to that variable. Also, class count is equal to 22. And if I print the name of the variable, it is going to display the value that was assigned to it. Variables are also used for calculations. For example, we know that we can use plus, minus, a sign for, this is a sign for multiplication and a slash for division. So we can use these symbols to perform various operations with the numbers. So for example, if I want to write a percentage, so I can use a variable name percent equal to 0.7 times 100, and when I print percent, it gives a float value. Now, since we have a decimal in it, you can see the console is a float value and not an integer. Similarly, the second example, total is equal to 5 plus 7. Since there are no decimals in this, you can see when I print the variable, it gives me an integer. Also, amount left is equal to 100 minus 35. And when I print this variable, it executes the calculation and gives me the value of an integer 65. When I perform a division using a variable average, and I say average is equal to 20 divided by 5, and I print the variable average, you see we also get a float value. So as you already know, float is when something is to be written with a decimal. So if I have a price called 42.9 and I want to print the price, the answer or the display will be in a float value with the decimal. Here's another example with the length, and you can see the length is also in float. So we have seen what a string is, integer is, and float is. Now let's look at Boolean. Boolean is a value which is either true or false. Please note, when I assign variable, I can only assign a variable value of true or false if only then it will be a Boolean value. Please note, this is not in double quotes. If I say save file in double quotes, this becomes a string. So I have to write save underscore file equal to either true or false. Please note the first letter of the word is a capital letter. So make sure you start with an uppercase. So let's say save file is equal to false, and when I print this variable, it will only give me a value of true or false. So let's look at another example. So close is equal to true, and the opposite of true is not true or false. So I say far is equal to not close. Close is already defined as a variable up, which says true. So far is not close. So when I print close, it is going to display true because that is the condition. But when I print far, as you can see in the bottom code over here, it displays false because Boolean can only display true and false. So far is equal to not close, which automatically makes it the display of false. So Boolean can only be displayed as a true or a false. So let's look at an example to understand better. So I have a variable which is called answer. And in the first case, I assign it a value with a double quote. In the second case, I assign my variable answer without a double quote. And in the third case, I assign my variable answer equal to true, as Boolean can only take true and false as its variable. So in the first case, it is going to display as it is. It is going to, whatever is written in the double quote, it is going to display, in this case, 47. In the second case, it's an integer. It is going to display the number 47. And in the third case, it is going to display true because it can only display answer in a true and false. So today we learned what is a string. All the strings are written in double quote. What is an integer? What is a float? And what is Boolean? So let's try an example. Write a code to print variables, name, age, and adult, such that the first variable is a string, the second variable age is an integer, and the third variable adult is a Boolean. Now you can pause this video to solve this, or you can solve along with me. So the first variable name, since it's a string, I'm going to name it in a double quote. The second variable is an integer, so I'm going to write a number. And the third variable is a Boolean, so I'm going to assign it a true or a false. So name is Ayan, age is 14, adult is false, he's not an adult. So I want to print the outcome. I'm going to separate the three variables with a comma, and you can see it displays Ayan 14 false. So I hope you got this code right. Keep practicing. Well done. And I'm going to see you next time with more important coding techniques in the easiest way possible. Like and subscribe if you want to learn more, and keep practicing. Thank you very much.